So starting out a little bit different this time, showing you a finished miniature. This is Seamus from Weird's Malifaux game. And what I'm going to be painting here is the avatar version of this figure. When certain conditions are met in the game, these leader figures can transform into different avatar-type creatures. In Seamus's case, he transforms into a big Hulk creature. Uh, the artwork has him painted green, which I think is blatantly obvious, so I wanted something different. I wanted more of a bruised flesh here for this guy. Something if your flesh stretches, it's probably going to get bruised up a bit. So that's the plan. And this can also work on any sort of, I think it'd work good on ghouls or maybe some zombies, depending on what you have. But anyway, here we go. So the main colors I'm using are the same as in my old painting flesh article. It's Panzer Aces of Vallejo colors, shadow, flesh, medium base coat, and then highlight. So, and all I'm doing is just mixing in a little bit of Vallejo game color, Hexen lichen color to it, which is a little bit of purple. And just a touch to give a little purple hue to the colors. So this first coat here is just the shadow flesh, which is a small amount of the hex lichen mixed in. And this is going all over. Just thinned a little bit so it covers well. Not doing any layering or highlighting or anything like that at the moment. Now I've added some of the flesh base coat color and added a little bit more purple at this point. The key here is just to add enough purple at each point to keep the tone that I'm looking for. I really can't give a set recipe for this. It's just kind of like by eye. As you add more paint of one color, base coat, I gotta add a little bit more of the purple to balance it out. Because if I don't, then the purple will start disappearing. Which in some cases may work, but it's not what I want in this case. So again, this paint is not thin very much. It's going over pretty much all the areas of that the shadow went over. Shadow's just remaining in the recesses, and it gives me the base color to work up from. So I use that shadow color as my starting point. Next, mixed in more of the base flesh color, and again, just a tiny bit more purple if needed. And this paint is thinned, and this is going on in layers. Notice right there on the arm, when you're highlighting, you try and want to paint in proper direction. In case of this figure, I want to follow the striations of the muscles underneath the flesh. So rather than painting across that shoulder, paint up and down, and that really helps. Putting the highlights in the proper direction really helps, define them better. So here now, just using the base flesh color with a bit of purple mixed in. A little bit less purple. And again, highlighting and following the striations of the muscles, so across the chest and up and down the shoulders. As always with layering, remember this isn't done in just one coat, it's repetitive coats. So paint a little on the shoulder, go to another area of the figure, go back to the shoulder, go back to that other area, and repeat the process 3 or 4 times. Depends on how thin the paint is and how much highlighting you want to do. Now moving to the final highlights, rather than using my highlight flesh color as I normally would, instead I used some Vallejo Game Color Dead Flesh, which is a bit more pale. I thought it would work better in this case. And just repeating the process in a smaller area, more highlights, and helping to define all those muscles. And here we are, the final highlight. More dead flesh added. Almost no purple added at this stage, because if I add purple to this very pale flesh color, it's going to really turn it into, well, it's going to turn into purple, because that white will pick up so much of that purple color. And this is just going on, being very reserved with this, going on just areas where I want to really highlight. So around the face, just the top of the muscles, knuckles, any of the bulging muscles that I want to add a bit more definition to. So now that all that's done, I'm going back and adding a bit more color to the shadow areas. What I decided to try was a mix of violet ink mixed with some dark green. And this was probably a mistake. I probably should have used blue rather than green, considering there's no other green on the figure, but I was thinking like bruised flesh, it's like bluish and green. But anyway, so this is just very, very thin and going over the areas of shadow or any place where I want to add a bit more color. Very subtle at first. You got to slowly build this up. If it's too thick, it's going to look way too obvious. We're going for subtle at the moment and then building up to it. And also have to be careful not to get this on any of the highlight areas, because the white areas of the figure painted with the dead flesh is going to pick up more color from the ink than the dark areas. So if I just wipe across that chest, the dark areas are not going to look purple-green, but the light areas will, which is going to pretty much ruin the whole thing. And here it is, all done, next to its normal counterpart. Took a while painting the other areas of the figure, since the original Seamus I painted a while ago, and it was a one-off, so I didn't write down the color recipes. And took me a while to figure out exactly how I painted the purple last time. Turned out to be a mix of colors. The color composition on the avatar is not that great. I wanted to use the same colors as I did on the original figure. Problem is there's areas on the original figure that are no longer on the avatar, more than likely because it was made by a different sculptor. So all the areas I painted pink originally are gone now. He doesn't have that big collar. The gloves are gone. A lot of the areas are just missing, so I could not use... I did my best, but I couldn't put any pink onto the figure without changing certain elements, like painting his little neckerchief purple, or excuse me, pink. And then that would have matched the knee pads, but I really don't want to change his clothing colors. But there you go, both together. Two different types of flesh, one nice and clean and fleshy, one a little bit more bruised and purple. And again, this should work on any number of figures, whenever you need something that's a little bit off on its flesh tone. And that's it. Thanks for watching.